Okay, well, welcome everyone. I want to welcome you guys on this Saturday morning. I want to thank you guys for jumping online with us to get a little Ignite Quick Start training here, guys. My name is Trey Dyer. I'm coming to you from way out here in West Texas, and I'm excited this morning, guys. We're being joined by a good friend of mine. He is a top 10 money earner again this year. He is killing it in the business. If you were at Ignition this last weekend, you couldn't help but see this guy all over the place. He was our host on for the general session. He is my good friend, guys, Presidential Director, Mr. Brian Lucia. Brian, are you on with us this morning?
Good morning, Trey. Hi, everybody. Great to be with you. Boy, it seems like it was a couple of hours ago we were just at Ignition. Sure was fun.
Man, I tell you what, that was a lot of excitement over a very short period of time, Brian. But, man, did we get a bunch of goodies. Had a lot of excitement since then, a lot of great growth. We have certainly got some huge momentum coming out of Ignition, and that's kind of the purpose for the webinar this morning, Brian, to help people, not only the new folks that have joined us, the new associates, get off to a good start, but to kind of help everybody understand, how we're going to go forward from here using these tools that we've gotten, these new presentation tools, the new back office stuff, and this is just kind of a sampling, maybe a quick, a quick start training for those tools. I guess we need to go ahead and let me go ahead and put up the screen here. Brian, this is our mantra, 4 and 24. A new associate joins the business. The most important thing I think that they do, and guys, that's what we're going to do, is we're going to try to step you through a little 1, 2, 3 step process. And that's what our system really entails, is following the system, going over this little cookie cutter approach. And Brian, probably the most important step is to help somebody get their check. How is this 4 and 24? What is it, and why is it so important, Brian?
Well, I think the word validate, Trey, that you said is really the most important thing on the screen. It's getting the first check, or what I call the first victory, the first W for that new associate. And when that first check comes with their name on it, it is that validation, and not just for them, but for everyone around them who maybe have been questioning what they're doing. And the importance of the motto 4 and 24. The company gives the new Ignite associate 30 days to get their first check, but I always say if it takes you 29 days, you're probably not real serious about your business. And the faster somebody completes their first 4 points, the faster they get that first check. So we've developed this motto, to go get your first 4 points in the first 24 hours you're in the business. Again, that's not a mandate from corporate. That's a suggestion from all of us, because if you get your first check triggered the first day, it's coming the following Friday. These checks are paid on a weekly basis. And, think about it. If you're brand new in the business and you do that, it's pretty easy. Then when you sponsor someone in the business, hey, I got my 4 points on the first day and my check showed up the next Friday. Let's go do that for you. And then again, there's the beginning of that cycle of duplication, and really the explosion of a team, Trey, all starts from completing that first task, the most important thing we ever do.
Brian, you talk about 4 and 24, and you talk about it being important, but it's also pretty simple, man. Most people think, well, I got to get 4 customers. No, you don't actually have to get 4 customers. Your website's going to count as 2. You're going to switch yourself, and that's going to give you your 3rd customer point. We're really just talking about 1 outside customer, and if you don't even live, like our number 1 money earner, Brian, didn't even live in an area that he could become his own first customer. If you have to get 2 outside customers, and I don't know anybody any better to talk about how we do that, Brian. You talk about that relationship model. How do we go about getting that 1 customer to trigger that bonus?
Well, good point, Trey. I'm actually sitting at a Panera Bread right now with a brand new associate who's across their table signing up as we speak, and he gets it because he only has to go switch 1 customer outside his own house. And so who's that first person that you call? It's the person that loves you or the person that owes you. And I make jokes about that guys, if you've got a friend who's got your weed eater or lawnmower or snow blower in their garage, that they borrowed it from you, that's what makes the world go around. And ladies, you've all helped they know your friend, pick up their kids at school or whatever. And so it's really all about relationship, Trey. And so, when we call that first person to be our customer, obviously it's somebody who knows us very well. It's somebody we have a relationship with. And we're not selling electricity or natural gas. We're just going to ask them for a little help or a small favor. And, Trey, so often people think, oh, I don't want to ask people for a favor. Well, that's more of a philosophy than an exact word phrase that you have to use. But, if I call my buddy Trey up and say, hey, Trey, I need a small favor, you're going to say, sure, Luch, what's up? Because that's what friends do. And, the thing about it is that if you take the approach that you're asking them to support you in your business, not trying to sell them energy, because, quite frankly, they've already got electricity or natural gas, and we just want them to be our customer. So we're going to ask them that. And the key here, Trey, is when you tell someone, hey, I've started a brand new business, you've got to share with them why. For Beth and myself, our why was to get Beth home to be a stay-at-home mom. So when we called someone, we just said, hey, I need a small favor. And my friends was like, sure, Luch, what's up? Hey, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but Beth and I have always dreamed of her being a stay-at-home mom, and I just found a way to replace her income. Well, there's the why right there. So they immediately take ownership in wanting to support their friend. And so the next thing is when they say, sure, what can I do to help you? You just say, hey, I'd love for you to help me out by being my energy customer. Now, Trey, we have on number 3 there, energy. It's a generic term. If you're asking someone to be your natural gas, your electricity customer, obviously be specifics. Here in Texas, I would say, I want you to be my electricity customer. If I was in Georgia, I'd say I want you to be my natural gas customer. And then when you tell them, hey, here's the cool thing, when you become my customer, nothing changes. The same truck shows up in an emergency outage to fix all the houses on our street, no matter who we buy it from. When you switch to my company from your company, everything stays the same, except, there is one other thing. You might even save a little money every month, but that's beside the point. I'd ask you to help me out if it was the exact same price that you're paying now. And the funny thing, Trey, most people have no clue what they're paying for their energy, because for so long as it was a monopolized industry and there was no choice, they just paid that bill when it came and never looked to see what kilowatt or therm usage was or what their rate was. They just paid the bill. And so 9 out of 10 times they don't have a clue. And if we don't make rate the topic of discussion, then it won't be. And I really wholeheartedly believe this, Trey, that if my friend is paying X and my price is X, then they're going to be my customer, because if it's the same, everything else is the same. The quality of the energy, the servicing of it, everything remains the same. Now, the fact that we're going to be a little less in the markets we're in is really just our gift back to them. So, Trey, I don't like to spend a ton of time on the customer gathering, because really we get our customers by default if we show the plan enough. But I think it is important for somebody new to understand not to call and try to sell electricity or the rate or the deal of the savings. It's about relationship. And the fact that we're a little less is really our gift back to them for supporting us in our new business.
Man, I'll tell you, I like the way you put that. And one of the points that you made, Brian, and I think for me, it's the key to understanding how we get this first customer. And understand, everybody, we're not going to go out there and gather a bunch of customers. This is not about you getting in and becoming an electricity or natural gas salesman. We're just getting that first customer to help you, get qualified, to validate the business and get get started to getting into the black in your business. But one of the things that the overarching philosophies is that once you let somebody that you know really well, your mom or your brother, that it's important to you, and that's why you tell them why you're doing this business, then of course they're going to switch for you. Why wouldn't they? And so I like the way you spelled that out. Now keep in mind, guys, we get that one customer, but then we're going to focus. We're going to turn our focus to collecting business partners, because you'd like to get paid on several thousand energy bills. And the way we do that is by creating leverage. And leverage is the secret in our business. Keep in mind, we're all going to get a little handful of customers, but the way we really make a huge difference financially for ourselves and for many others is by creating leverage. And we do that by building our team. So our second step after we get that first customer is now we want to think about the people that we know who would like to get paid a residual income on a life essential service, who would like to get paid on energy bills. And of course, our next goal is to sponsor 3 associates. Brian, let's talk about that, man. You know, your first thing is you got to figure out who you're going to talk to, right?
You know, Trey, I have people all the time. I've been doing this for 7 years, and whatever event we have, a training event or a local business presentation, all too often I have people walk up to me afterwards and one-on-one, and they'll say, hey, can I ask you a question? And I'll say, sure. And I'll go, what's the real secret to the business? And I always laugh because, you know, the basics are the basics. It's a matter of setting appointments, showing the plan, you know, plugging into the system. But I will say this, Trey, if I could point to one thing that after 7 years of being in this business that I think truly is the difference maker, it's a written list of names. I've had people say, I have 300 people names in my cell phone, or I've got this huge Rolodex. And I'm like, until you change that to a written list of names, you're not seriously working this business. And so this out of everything, for those who are new in the business looking at this webinar, this is the difference maker, and that's your own written list of names. It's the asset to your business. Now, Trey, when I say that, here pretty soon with our new virtual assistant, people will be able to import that list into the back office Power Center and work through the virtual assistant's contact management system and really take notes of when they called somebody, and it'll have a step-by-step process. And we'll certainly train on that in time, but to me, there's just nothing better than a piece of paper in my hand, a yellow pad, or I have a dry erase board in my home office, and so I have my written list of names with a whole bunch of names, and then I have a hot list that I'll put on the dry erase board that I stare at, and I'll pick up the phone and call those people. So I love that you put this screenshot on here, because this is the most important thing you do when you're brand new. You make that list of names, and then the next step is obviously to start calling them. So I'll flip that back to you. I wanted to just interject that because I'm really passionate about getting people to start writing those names down.
I agree, Brian. Most people leave and join the business, and they they leave the presentation and they see it and they get excited and they decide to join the business, but they skip this step. They've got those 2 or 3 names in their head that those are the people they're going to talk to, and that's it. What you have to understand, guys, is that in order to do this business correctly, you do want to follow that simple 1, 2, 3 connect the dots system. And the most important step after you get your first 4 customers is to get you a big list. And the reason is you don't know who on your list is going to be ready for this business, who's going to be looking when the timing is right for them. So what I would suggest, and I know you would agree, Brian, is you need to make a long list. You need to put, I think hundreds of people's names on your list. And when I tell people that, hey, you need to have 200 people's names on that list, people always go, well, wow, I don't know 200 people. Well, the reality is thousands of people. Think about all the people you've gone to school with. Think about all the people you work around. Think about all the people you do business with. Think about your family. I tell people, hey, if you need a memory jogger, then just go down the Yellow Pages. If you still have a Yellow Pages, I guess, go down the Yellow Pages and think about all the people that are accountants or attorneys, or that need attorneys, or that have been sued by an attorney, or that need to sue an attorney. You get my point. You just go down. You go through the ABCs in the Yellow Pages. By the time you get halfway through the alphabet there, you'll have thought about probably hundreds and hundreds of people's names. Write those people on that list. And, Brian, I would even go so far to say they need to set a goal. I want to get through 100 names in 90 days or in 60 days, and depending on how fast you want to work your business. But that may seem like a lot of work until you see what you actually do with those people. So let's talk about, Brian, how we get those people. Let's say we've got a long list. Let's say we've gone in there and we've qualified our list. You want to think about the people who are influential, positive, financially motivated, and can actually, join the business. They have the means that they can join the business if they like what they see. Those are the people you want to talk to first. We call those people, Brian. What are we going to say to them? What happens next? What do we want to do? Well, guys, this is kind of an overview of where you want to take those prospects. Many people in our business think that this is a selling business. It's not. It's simply following a system, and you're going to take these prospects through a simple system. First of all, the first step is to find out whether they're in the market to look at something. Find out whether they're interested in what you have. And that's kind of a first exposure, Brian. Through the first exposure, I found that sending them a video, and I'm going to show you, we're going to talk about how to do that, but sending them to your website or a prospecting video so they can at least see what you have, what you're doing, then you can kind of sort out the people that are interested in going further from the people that are really not interested at this time. And it's an easy, non-threatening way to find out your prospects from your to sort your prospects from your suspects. From there, we want to get them 100% of the information. So the next exposure to the business, after the introduction to the business, we want to get them more information. Maybe we do that through a little bit bigger meeting, maybe a webinar, maybe a one-on-one or a two-on-one with your sponsor or upline leader, or maybe a small home meeting, maybe even a three-way call. Brian, you do these first looks that are wonderful. And then, of course, finally, if they're interested or if they're not ready to join after they see 100% of the information, maybe take them to a bigger event, maybe a hotel meeting, maybe a bigger home meeting. And I think if you take your prospects through this process, starting with a non-threatening way to find out whether they're interested, getting them the 100% of the information, all the way to introducing them to some of the people that are involved. And I think, Brian, that's the real decision maker for most people, is meeting some of the people that are involved in the business. Once they see all of it, I think you're going to have a very high success rate. So, how do we get them, through these steps, Brian? How do we, you want to talk about maybe how they get them from the contact list to the first appointment, the first exposure?
Well, Trey, you've said it better than anyone. He or she who shows the plan the most wins, and it's not about being able to present the information. It's being able to have somebody sit down in front of the information. And I love the sponsoring process that you showed, kind of the 3 steps, that those prospecting videos that are all new on our back office, that'll, on March 11th, we'll go live to be able to send out to people through the virtual assistant. All too often the new associate is really nervous on what to say when they call their friend. Well, now we can say, hey, I've got a video I want you to watch. It's it's less than a minute. We have one that's 39 seconds long, or it's less than 4 minutes. And the key here is with that valley of death that's staring at us, that most people talk too much on the phone, and they either say too much of the wrong thing, and if they're getting into a big, deep, dark discussion about the business, then they're doing it all wrong. And that's giving people just enough ammunition to say no thank you. And no one should ever say no to looking. And it's our fault if our prospect is saying no, or as you say, the suspect. I would laugh when I would say that. But truly, it's about learning how to invite someone. And Trey, and in the past, it was inviting somebody to a home meeting or to a business presentation. But now with technology, with these prospecting videos and webinars, we can take a process of getting the information in front of them. And like you always say, those prospecting videos aren't a make or break. You're trying to close the deal. You're just trying to whet their appetite. You're not sending them the compensation plan. And I think that's where people are taking all or none mentality when they're new, that their friend has to make a decision right away. And I think what you just shared with us on that process is really good, because if I share a little bit through a video and then say, hey, let's meet for coffee tomorrow. I've got somebody I want you to meet who really understands this stuff. And there's a good chance for a two-on-one, or hey, this weekend I'm having some people in my house, and I've got a gentleman coming over here to be able to answer questions. There's the process of it. And then it's also where they realize they don't have to be the one who's the know-it-all. And if you're the one doing all the talking, then that person may be intrigued by the business, but they also may be thinking, gosh, I could never know all that. I could never do that. So, Trey, as you say all the time, master the invitation, you master the business.
Brian, you mentioned the Valley of Death, and we talk about the Valley of Death. This is where I think a lot of new associates come in, and they try to get on the phone and start selling this thing and start talking about the business. With these tools, with these videos, you don't have to know everything. You don't have to know really anything. And I like the invitation you talked about earlier, getting on the phone and saying, hey, John, I got a video. You need to check it out. We do this every day with YouTube. And so really this is just making the business easier. One of the things I do want to mention, Brian, and this is something you don't want to do. This is a big no-no. You don't want to send an email out, a mass email to everybody on your list and expect them to go and watch that video. It just doesn't work that way. You absolutely have to get on the phone. You don't have to stay on the phone, but for 15 to 30 seconds to say, hey, John, I got a video I want you to watch. I'm going to call you back. Will you watch it? Get a commitment that they will watch it. You need to be excited. You need to have a strong posture. That's what that posture means down there. And you need to have a sense of urgency. I think that if I were calling my friend saying, hey, I'm sending you a video right now, I'm excited about it, you watch it, I'm going to call you back in 5 minutes or in 10 minutes. There's a sense of urgency, Brian, that I think is important to have. And, if you think about it, man, you can make 5 phone calls in literally about 10 minutes, and you've gotten this video to 5 people. How it didn't take you long at all to do that. It doesn't take you a lot of time to do that. Yet with that video, you can be really effective, and you can find out who's interested. Now, Brian, one of the things that you always say about the follow-up is that you got to call them back, but you have a little saying and a little philosophy about following up. You can't just expect those people to call you back. Talk to us about maybe your follow-up after somebody watches that first video.
Well, the saying that you like so much is that the fortune is in the follow-up. There's steps to this. If you use the example of, hey, John, I've got a video I'm really excited about, can't wait for you to see it. A couple of things I want to emphasize that you did such a good job of is that enthusiasm and urgency. It's Mama said it's not what you say, but how you say it. That's attractive. People will feel that urgency and excitement in your voice if you're genuine when you have it. So it's not a matter of saying anything fancy. It's just, hey, this is so cool, you got to see it. And once that you've sent them that video, while you're on the phone with them, especially Trey, if you're sending them a 39-second video, you can say, hey, this thing's less than a minute. I'll just sit and wait while you watch it. It's awesome. And if they say, well, I can't watch it right now, say, hey, no problem. You're going to be able to watch it later today or sometime tonight. And as soon as they answer, you say, great, I'll call you back at 8 o'clock tonight, or I'll wait to hear from you. As soon as you watch it, if I don't hear, I'll call you before we go to bed tonight. Can't wait to get your opinion on this, or can't wait to get your reaction. And so, I don't think you'll let the thing lie, because life gets in the way. And when they're intrigued, right as they see that video, is the time to talk to them. If we wait a couple of days, life has hit them head on, and they may not remember the feeling. And these videos are phenomenal. The ones, there's 2 of them, Trey, that are just under 5 minutes, and both of them tell the story. They evoke emotion. They take away the objections of time and skepticism, I think, very well. And so these prospecting videos are going to work, but they're not going to work if we don't call back and follow up. Now, I would bet, our buddy Steve Fisher says you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. When you send this video to the right person, they're going to be dialing you so fast, they'll be blowing up your phone. But there's going to be some people who who need that sponsoring process. You said they're going to, that looks pretty cool. They may not jump all over it, but say, hey, I just wanted to get that information in front of you. When's the time we can get together and have a cup of coffee, and I can show you a little more how it works? Or I'm having some people to my house. It's Saturday. I want you to bring your wife so both of you guys can see this. And so those are the follow-up phone calls that are so imperative to take this to the next step, Trey.
I love the short, concise, and really easy follow-up there. Hey, did you like what you saw? Would you like to see more? Would you like to explore this further? Somebody's going to come to my house and explain this. Let's get together for coffee. Really simple, little, easy steps there, Brian, but so important that you do follow up and that you control. I think it's worth noting that you control the sponsoring process. If I were to call my friend Brian and say, hey, what did you think about the little short video? Did you are you interested in finding out more information? If he's saying yes, I'm not going to say, okay, well, call me back later and I'll explain to you. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, okay, so here's what needs to happen next, and I'm going to control that, Brian. I'm going to say, hey, let's get together. And I like what you the question you asked there. Would lunch be better for you, or maybe after you get off work, to where we can sit down and I can show you the entire information. Now, I've had a few people in my career say, well, gosh, I just don't know, what's this going to cost me or something. And Brian, I always try to set them at ease. I say, hey, this may not be for you, but there's no obligation here. I just want to share the entire information with you. I just want to show you how it works and how we get paid, because let's face it, people want to know that. They want to know how it works. They're interested in making money off of energy, but they don't know exactly how it works. And I'm just going to say, hey, I want to show you how it works, how we get paid. And
yeah, let me jump in here.
Explain it,
Sure. Trey, you've said it well, that with these prospecting videos, we're not sending them the long compensation video. And so it's not a matter of are you in or are you out, because they haven't had enough information to make that decision. This follow-up after they've seen the prospecting videos is about that second appointment, is about getting the 100% of information in front of them. And so I even like phrases, if somebody's calling their friend, it's not a sales pitch or anything. But if you really are excited and you call them back after they watch that video, and I love what you said is, hey, did you like this enough to want to see more? I mean, we don't have to be fancy. Or I even like, hey, dude, how soon do you want to get paid on these energy bills? I mean, it's that excitement. And they're going to go, yeah, that looks pretty cool. So how does it work? And they're going to start asking you. I think these videos are going to make it easier in a sense that people will start asking. Now, the danger in that is, again, not to explain it on the phone, but they just set that second appointment. So I think it's a whole new world. We are going to see quicker growth. Our new associates are going to be able to utilize these tools to get their business off and running, and I couldn't be more excited about it, Trey.
Brian, we've talked about the videos, and it just dawned on me, we haven't really mentioned where you can find these videos. Now, guys, keep in mind that on the 11th, that's the date scheduled for the virtual assistant in our back office to allow us to send those videos out and be able to track when the prospect has watched them. But right now, those videos are available on your home site. You just go to your home site, your website, you click on Watch the Video, and you'll see a whole list. The two that Brian has been referring to, one is about 4.5 minutes. It's called Your Best Friend's Energy Company. And the second one is called The Power to Do More. And they're actually going to add a third one, Brian, that is really a fantastic video. It's just in the final phases of being edited right now, that they actually showed on Saturday at the general session. But good videos, man, good videos. Okay, let's talk about this, man. Let's say you've gotten your three, you sponsored your 3 associates, and I would say, hey guys, shoot for 5. Don't ever set your sights on on 3. Let's set our sights on 5, and then we get 3 good ones. But we just repeat this process until we get our 3 to 5 associates, and so really we just like one last step to complete our 3 and 10, Brian, and that is the last 6 customer points. Really, how do we normally get those customers? I mean, what's the realistic method in which we get those customers, Brian?
Well, I just love how you've broken this down into a step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1 was to get your first 4 points. Step 2 was to start the sponsoring process, sharing the business with people who want to make money just like us. And then step 3 is completing the 10 customer points. And Trey, I just think that the best way to get those remaining 6 customers is by default. And as I mentioned, I just met with a person here this morning who just signed up, and I explained that to him. He so what do I do? And I said, the first thing we do is, we can already switch your house. We're just going to get 1 customer. And then I would tell people, take your customer gathering hat off for the moment as far as an action plan, and start sharing the business with people. And let me give everyone an example. If I were to leave here as a brand new associate and I go start asking everyone to be my customer, well, if some reason they live in a cooperative or they're in a contract and they can't switch, it's kind of weird after they say, I can't be a customer. They go, well, do you want to see the business? Whereas if I lead with the business opportunity and say, hey, I want to share something with you that my buddy just told me. I found a way to get paid on thousands of energy bills every month. And they go, really? How do you do that? Well, when we show the business to them, more often than not, they're going to say, oh my gosh, this is great. I've been looking for something. And they're going to become our associate. And ultimately, Stream Energy wants a lot of customers, and so do we. And that's how you get a lot of customers, by having a lot of associates who get customers. But here's the default process. If I show the business to somebody and they say, hey, it looks great, I think you're going to do well, but right now the time is just crazy in my life and I can't even think which way is up, you can say, hey, you know what, no problem. I'll check back with you later. In the meantime, just help me out and be my customer. And that's a natural progress that if somebody says no thank you to the business, I can say, hey, that's okay. Just be my customer. It's free to switch over. And it's amazing how quickly we finish gathering our 10 customer points if we're out showing the entire business plan to people. And so, Trey, I'm pretty passionate about that action plan. It's, get your 4 points, get your first check, start showing the plan to everybody, and you're going to get both associates and customers through that process.
Let's talk about the philosophy there, Brian, because I'll tell you, I've got a couple of dozen customers in my career, which is not a lot, okay? Get paid on thousands, but I've only had to personally get a couple of dozen. And you know what? After those first 4 customer points, the rest of them were all through this process. So this is absolutely the best way to gather the rest of your customers. But, Brian, I've noticed that, when I'm sitting down and showing somebody the business, if I approach them and what we call lead with the business, hey, I want you to take a look at what I'm doing, and they look at it and they say, hey, that's not really for me, or not right now. And then I say, well, I tell you what, you see, I need a few customers. Why don't you become one of my customers? I always get this question, well, what does that cost me? And I say, well, hey, that's the best part. That's free. As a matter of fact, you're probably going to save some money over what you're paying right now. And so people walk away, Brian, I found that people walk away from that meeting thinking they saved themselves $329, and I walk away with the customer, man. It's a win-win situation,
And Trey, let me add this. The funny thing about it is those people tend to be the ones who circle back, whether it's a month or a year later and say, hey, you still doing that electricity thing? And you go, yeah, and hey, I want to thank you for, being my customer. And they're going to go, now, how do you get paid on my bill? or do you really get paid? And they end up turning out to be great associates because, the timing maybe wasn't right, but timing and people's lives change. And then they're a walking, talking billboard because they've been a customer for a while, so that when they get started, their learning curve may not even be as much. So, everything is a win out of that. And I like that, I tell people, hey, when you take this approach, then, none of us like rejection, but we get to turn those no's to the business into yeses to be a customer. And so, like you said, it's a huge win, and it's great.
Well, Brian, our little simple 3-step process actually has 4 steps. And, you've completed your 3 and 10 here. But we're not done yet. We want that duplication to continue. And, if I can express to everyone, one of the best skills that you can learn in this business is to help your new associates get off on the same track, get off on the right track, just like you did. So what are some ways we can help our new associates? Well, Brian, the first thing that comes to my mind is get them on one of these webinars, get them on one of these training webinars. We're recording this webinar, and you can send them the link to this webinar. They can actually watch it. There's also some great training videos in the back office. That's going to expand greatly with the Ignite Virtual Assistant. But Brian, what is another way, something that you're probably doing right now as we speak to help your new associates get off on the right track?
I'm going to quote my buddy Greg McCord, who has a great visual. He always talks about, with corporate America mindset, a lot of people want to be the lifeguard. They want to sit up in the big chair, blow the whistle, and point their finger at everybody. And this business is different. We get out and swim with each other. And so when you sponsor somebody in the business, the most important thing we can do is not tell them what to do, but show them how to do it. Get with them. Make that first phone call with them. Role play with them. Make sure that they don't overthink this. Keep it simple. The duplicatable process you talked about of utilizing the webinars, the websites, the DVDs, and really not going rogue and trying to do something by reinventing the wheel. Well, my goodness, the great leaders in this company have laid out the yellow brick road for all of us, and all we really got to do is walk down there. So I think that once you can continue that duplication one level by the people you sponsor, it's a monkey see, monkey do business. They'll in turn do the same thing when they sponsor someone, and that's where you start to see that huge growth and really that driving of depth, Trey, that you do so well talking about those pecan trees.
There you go. Well, the two simple phases in this business, not only learning the system, but teaching the system, both equally important to create that duplication, Brian. I kind of jumped the gun a little bit on this slide. If you'll notice, it says managing director under the U character over on the side. Kind of brings up the point of our current promotions. Brian, do you want to kind of go over what we have on the table right now to help us complete all this, to really help people, get off to a fast track in their business?
Yeah, Trey, I'll tell you, one of the things I love about the corporate office is they listen to us. We had a presidential director retreat, you may remember, back in September, and they said, hey, guys, what do you want? And one of the things we asked for, we said, hey, we want people to promote to managing director faster. So everything they've done with these promotions coming out of Ignition does that, but starting with the double customer points. And I love that you just showed that, before you click again, let's emphasize what you just did. When somebody has their first 4 customer points, obviously they would need 6 more to get 10. But with the double customer points promotion, you don't get double customer points for the first 4. But once the new associate has triggered their first 4 points by getting those 2 actual switches in addition to their eSuite package, every customer they switch after that is a double customer point as far as electricity. So when you switch those 3, those highlighted in yellow mean that you're actually getting 6 points. So in essence, this person just triggered their 10th point by getting 3 customers after they had triggered their first 4 through the Quick Start 4. And Trey, this is not just for the new associate; it's for all of us. And there's so many. Springtime's a great time our company's very competitive. We all need to be gathering customers. Then the other neat thing about this is that they've changed our Quick Start 10 bonus from $100 to $250 this month of March. And that means that the new associate, basically just by getting those 10 customer points, with 100 for Quick Start 4 and 250 for the Quick Start 10, that's $350, and that's the equivalent of their entry fee in the first month of their eSuite. So they're whole, or they're playing in the black, as we say. And just by completing 3 and 10, somebody this month will earn $650 versus the normal $500. So that extra money is going to be great for people to be off and running in the business. And then, of course, I'll let you click for the next one. The Quick Promote promotion is the third part of the Ignition promotion. That was double customer points was number 1. Number 2, the $250 Quick Start 10, and now the Quick Promote promo. And as you look at this, you can see the criteria to promote to managing director. Number 1, we all have to have 10 customer points, and our 3 personally sponsored associates. That's the power unit of 3 and 10. And then the third part of the criteria has always been that we need 12 associates on our team in the first 5 levels of the business. Well, what I love what they've done with this Quick Promote, they said, hey, let's get rid of the number 12, and let's help the new associate promote more quickly by only having 9 people on their team. Now, this can be in any form or fashion, Trey. You don't have to stop at personally sponsoring 3. As you said, you and I both teach our teams, hey, you might want to start off with 5. Well, any form or fashion of 9 total in the first 5 levels. So I like this example that, the lady on the left has sponsored 2, and well, I guess pretty much they've all just sponsored 2. There's 6 people on the second level. Well, 6 plus 3 is 9, and you can see how quickly that happens. And it can be any combination of 9. So I think we're going to see people promoting the managing director much faster, which does what? Get them into those unlimited $75 leadership bonuses very quickly. And in turn, when they're having success on a short-term basis, Trey, they're going to have success on a long-term basis by growing that MEI.
Brian, I love the way the Quick Promo has worked so far. We've had so many people promote instantly. But I like to look at it like this. Let's say you go out there and you get your 3, and they're not as good as you. They only get 2. Well, hey, that still promotes you to managing director. And, man, people are doing this in very, very quick fashion, Brian. I think this is probably going to be one of the biggest, best promotions we've ever seen, in the history of this company. I really do. Because think about this. not only does it promote the people to managing director faster, but because of that, people are promoting the senior director and executive director that much quicker. So this is going to have an effect on every level, every position of our business. And I think this is going to just fuel the fire that much more for a wonderful year. Well, hey, man, we've kind of come to the close. We've gone over a little bit, but I think it's been a really good training, Brian. I think it's been a pretty complete, hopefully simple, quick start training. Man, I want to thank you for taking time. I know you're busy this morning. You've got new associates you're working with. You're signing up, and I want to thank you for taking time to invest into the future of this business, into my business, into your business. And thanks for your time, man.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Trey, and I hope that everybody will utilize this to help their new associates. I'll just say this as we close. You used the word momentum coming out of Ignition, and it is not just a wave of momentum, it's a tsunami, and I think we all need to ride it and make this our best year ever. And Trey, thank you for organizing these webinars as you always do. You are an amazing leader.
Thank you, sir. And guys, everybody, thanks for taking your time this Saturday morning to join us. This will be posted in a couple of hours on plugintoignite.com. That's www.plugintoignite.com. So feel free to share that with your new associates, with your team, and you guys go out there and have a great week. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.